What's going on, guys? It is the Poke King, and we're back with another banger. Shout out to my boy John, who came down to the Atlanta Regional with me. He took this Zoroak deck to the tournament, did pretty well, was close to a day 2. I hit John up when we got back into Connecticut, and I was just like, yo, John, I need that deck profile, man. You know, Henry Chow won with Gardevoir, so I feel like a lot of people at our locals going to try and play Gardevoir, so I want a nice, easy, quick tech towards it. You know, I was thinking of Hydreigon, but, you know, I want to see what this new Zoroak is because I never got a chance to play with the old Zoroak. So I was like, John, hit me up with the deck profile. He did. I did make some tweaks to it. And once again, John, if you're watching the video, let me know in the comment section down below. Do you like the tweaks? But I had to make a few tweaks, especially something to kind of win the Badoo matchup. And I think I put a nice little tech card in that I'll make another video about because I think it's the answer to kind of solving this Badoo war that we've been seeing. So let's get into the video. Starting off, we're going to play 4 of Enzor. You absolutely want to see this card. We play a few Buddy Poppins to search this out in the deck. Just know, of course, it is ×2 to weakness, so you do take 20 damage from a Badoo hit, but Scratch for 1 Dark Energy allows you to combat it. But we want to see these as soon as possible on turn 1. So I made a little bit of a trainer tech just to try and get a little bit more consistency to getting out more Enzor because we want to get into this Pokemon as soon as possible. This is the entire deck. Of course, this is what this entire deck is evolved around. It is Zoroak EX. Has trade, which we will take a look because even Henry Chow was playing this card in Gardevoir. Trade, you must discard a card from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw 2 cards. So trade is really good. So this deck just wants to get down as many Zoros as possible, get down as many as these Zoroarks, and pretty much just churn through the deck. Once again, it's not affected by any of the random cards like a Klefki or anything like that. So this card is absolutely busted, especially with like the NPP ups and stuff like that. We play Night Joker, where you will choose one of your bench ends Pokemon and you can use their attack. So you'll be copying things like Enzor Reshiram, Enzor Manitan. So this card is absolutely busted. And once again, it's also hitting for weakness against Guardy. So, you know, you Guardy players, you better watch out. We're going to be playing 2 of Darumaka. You're going to basically try and get into that as soon as possible because you want to get to the Enzor Manitan. Now, the Darumaka, John was playing 3. I felt like a 2-2 line was pretty decent enough. Backdraft is a good attack, especially against Gholdengo. So when you're able to go with like reversal energy, Enzor Manitan can then knock out Gholdengos. But Flame Body Cannon does 90 damage, and then you discard all the energies on the Pokemon to do 90 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So this is one of the few decks that can actually do bench damage and take 2 prizers using a single prizer. So very similar to kind of what like Radiant Greninja was for most decks. Enzor Manitan is like our version of a Radiant Greninja. So that's why this deck absolutely smokes Guardy, because it can take knockouts on Ralts, Curlias, Drifloons, and stuff like that. But then it can also one-shot things like Gardevoir EX. So super important. We do play Enzor Reshiram. Now we use it because of the powerful rage. Once again, Enzor can copy this attack. Powerful rage, 20 damage for each damage counter. So if you're going up against a Charizard player or any of these big stage 2 decks, for example, even like Dragapult, if they hit into your Zoroak, you're pretty much going to knock their stage 2 Pokemon out with a crackback because of how strong this attack is. So once again, you just kind of want to evolve into your Zoroak and then just wait for your opponent to attack. We play 1 Blood Moon Ursaluna because it's very nutty. You can do some cool plays with like Defiance Band, take big knockouts on like Gholdengo, and it can do up to 270, which is awesome. We then play 1 Squawkabilly EX. John was playing this more for the consistency aspect. You know, if you have a bad hand, or you know you just don't have a follow-up supporter, you can nest ball then for the Squawkabilly, use it to then try and get down more Pokemon. Of course, the best draw supporter in the game for support Pokemon, Pheasantipity. You can also attack with it, which is nice, you know, in any deck. We do play 1 Petron EX. It works with End's Castle. That way we can't get like stalled out with like, you know, people are playing Maractus. Somebody just wants to kind of counter catcher, sit on a Darumaka. We can use Petron EX to then bring up Enzor and then retreat into one that doesn't of course have the poison, so then you kind of avoid that. But Petron EX, really good. It can also be used as an attacker. We play the 1 Monkey Dory just because we play a lot of dark, so then we can take off damage, modify, and then of course for the Badoo war we play a Badoo because, you know, item lock, it's just too good. So that's all the Pokemon that John played. So John was playing 4 Professor's Research. At the end of the day, you just want to be able to turn through your deck. You know, this is a turbo deck. So we want to churn through. Now he was playing, I think 4 Ionos. I did cut down to 2 Ionos. One, just because I felt that, you know, Ionos is such a good card, but I also just wanted to try out some other cards for the supporters. He was playing 2 Bosses Order, which once again, this is really good because you can boss up a Pokemon that you need to take a knockout on. For example, against Godango, if they're hiding behind like a single prizer, then you could take that knockout. I did tech in the 1 Arven, so I cut an Iono for an Arven. I felt this is super necessary, especially if you draw it early in the game. It's really good with Buddy Buddy Poffin. And then I'm playing the 1 Morty's Conviction. I think it adds to the deck. Of course, trade, you can discard, but if you don't have your Enzor, you can get a Dark Energy into the discard pile with Morty's Conviction, and then draw a lot of cards, especially if you're going up against Terrabox, Dragapult. I think it's just really nice to see those extra cards. We're running 4 Nest Balls. We just want consistencies to get to like our Darumaka's, our Enzora, especially even like a Squawkabilly, or even like a Blood Moon Ursaluna. So super powerful. Now this is End's dark patch pretty much, so it's called End's PP Up, but it's pretty much a dark patch for all of End's Pokemon. So you may attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench End's Pokemon, so super versatile. Just allows you to, once again, just turbo through the deck and just go crazy. We're playing 3 Night Stretchers, once again, turbo deck, so you're probably going to be researching or trading away cards that you may want later back in the game, for example, like Blood Moon, so we'll send those to the discard pile. 2 Ultra Ball, once again, preferably would try to maybe have 3, but our goal is to try and get Enzor out as soon as possible, so of course you sometimes have to rely on the Ultra Ball. Even for the supporters, I was thinking of maybe even playing like a Brock Scouting, because I think going second, that's a really good supporter to open up with. We're playing 2 Buddy Buddy Poffins. Once again, you can Arven for this, so I thought that was really good, plus with the tools that we're playing. 1 Pokegear kind of just acts as like an extra supporter, so almost like your second Morty's Conviction, more from the standpoint of being in the deck. So the goal is to try and be able to hit more supporters. It's all about consistency. We are playing the 1 Counter Catcher. Once again, really good if they take a knock on Badoo. Then you can go into Enzoric EX, take a nice big knockout with like the Darmanitan attack. This is the tech card that we're playing. It is called Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet is super sweet. We saw a little bit of play from this from the Atlanta Regional. I think this is the answer to the Badoo War. Of course, if they're having to play Jamming Tower, sure. But Rocky Helmet, you know, if this Pokemon this card attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack, your opponent's Pokemon takes 2 damage. So let's say, for example, you're going first, you play Badoo, Arven, get your Poffins, attach this to your own Badoo. If they try to Badoo you on the back end, they're going to take 20 damage to the Badoo, and then you're going to Itchy Pollen yourself, knocking out the Badoo, but then also item locking them. Plus, then the Rocky Helmet is still on that Badoo. So I think Rocky Helmet will help to solve the Badoo matchup and kind of make it where people have to attach things like Bravery Charms, Luxurious Capes, Hero's Cape to their Badoo if they want to save it. We're playing 1 Defiance Band, helps with the math, once again, Blood Moon Ursaluna and Zoroak, Darmanitan. And then we're playing the Max Belt, once again, allows you to take a big knockout on, for example, like Godango EX, using Darmanitan because we play the reversal energies. We have 2 End's Castle, giving all End's Pokemon free retreat. So this is super versatile. Once again, this works with the combo of like Pecharon, being able to switch in between different Zoroark and also stalled out Pokemon. 2 reversal energy, the fact that you can attack with Darmanitan, I think is super versatile. So you can get real nutty with that. And then for the rest of the energies, we're playing 3, 6, and 7 dark energies. All right, guys, so that was the deck profile that once again John brought to the Atlanta Regional with a little bit of interesting techs and tweaks that I've made to the deck. Besides John, guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you think I should change in the deck. Do you guys like the additions that were made? We will get John on the channel with a player deck profile so he can show us his most recent deck list. That way you can kind of see 2 different versions. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, become part of the Poke Kingdom. It's been your king. Peace.